Good afternoon, everybody on this call for the New Mexico Economic Development Certified EDO overview. I think I know most of everybody on here, but if you don't know, I'm Jennifer Myers. I'm the Community Business Rural Development Team Leader. I want to start off with a few housekeeping rules before we get started. As I mentioned, some of you heard on the phone that you can use the chat function to ask questions. And reps, again, if you know the answers, feel free to answer while I'm talking. But if not, we'll have some time at the end. I'm sure it's not going to take the full hour. So I'll go ahead and dive in. And if you are on this call, I'm hoping and assuming you know your local representative. If not, here is a map of where the regions are and the 2 reps per region on here with the exception of Region 4 has their contact information. So they'll become your best friends and get to know them very well. And also the other reason why you want to know your rep is that here's a slide that highlights a summary of all the different areas that the reps touch. They work constantly on LEDA, JTIP, CAP. They can help you with tax credits and help with your community fund it as well. So once again, if you do not know your local representative, most of them are here. And if you don't know which one, reach out to me directly. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty of this. The Certified EDO program purpose is to recognize economic development organizations that provide a high level of professional services and assist those EDOs. We want to assist them build capacity within their communities because that directly will translate to help the local community. So that's the purpose, intention of the program, and kind of the quick overview of that, the purpose of it. The objectives is to recognize excellence in local economic development organizations, heighten visibility of the EDO process in New Mexico. Once again, building capacity for economic development organizations, encourage professional development, and help facilitate recruitment, business retention, expansion, startups, and economic-based businesses throughout New Mexico. And of course, ideally, is we want to stabilize and diversify our economy. So it's a kind of a win-win for everybody within each county and community within New Mexico. Eligibility. It's just listed here. It's in New Mexican non-for-profit organizations that are public-private partnerships with the primary purpose of developing the economic base in their communities. It's kind of hard to say, are eligible for apply for New Mexico EDO certification. If you're not certain if you qualify within that bucket, please reach out to me or your local representative to discuss. But I think most of you know you are or not, but we can always talk about that more. So let's talk about the application process. Here's a list of the required documents to apply for the certification. I'm going to show a demo a little bit more in depth, but as you can see, it's quite expansive. You have to have a mission and goal statement, resumes, membership lists. So it's quite extensive. It's a lot of downloading of the application process. And that only makes up 50% of your total scoring. So the application itself, downloading, I know a lot of you are already certified and you already know, but it hasn't changed. And the other 50% is the site visit itself. So I'll be going along to all the different site visits along with your local rep or representative, or you might be both of them if they're able to attend. But also we're going to make sure we mix it up and get new, fresh perspectives of different representatives. So there'll be, depending on availability, 2 or 3. I'm not anticipating a huge amount of site visits. So I think we really can have a lot of different representatives come to different areas. And the site visit itself, these are broken down. Business environment, is the area professional in appearance? What's the access level? What kind of equipment do they have? Is there security? The second bullet is staffing. How experienced is the staff? What's the responsibilities? How high is their turnover? We want to make sure that we're evaluating it from that perspective as well. Leadership. How are they doing at organizing volunteers? Do they have like a very specific orientation process? When do they have their meetings? How structured are they? So that's for leadership. Direction and vision is goal setting. Are they committed to the strategic plan? Are they looking at the strategic plan? How are they doing with their marketing plan? So that's the direction and vision. Community is, relationships. Are they out in the community? Do people know what they're doing? What kind of are they partnership with their local university? That's kind of the thing with regarding community. And lastly is the financial resources. How is their budget? Are they have other sources of income? Is this the sole income that they're going to have? So we want to make sure that's financially stable. And so for the site visit portion, we typically take to allocate between 3 and 4 hours for the site visit. And one of the components of the site visit is the stakeholder interviews. And we would like to at least talk to 5 of the following, categories that are listed here. Great to have a business that you have helped. Is there a elected official that's your champion? Utilities, how do you work with them, or real estate? So make sure that the people that are attending your interviews are your champions. Have you worked with them? I want to hear some good stuff that your organization does and how we've worked in the past. And then from our perspective, what we're going to be looking at is if the organization has utilized financial resources or utilizes resources to represent the community professionally. Let's see. Is it appropriate with the organization's mission? Are you working towards your mission of your actual organization? How is this helping achieve economic development goals and retention, expansion, recruitment, and helping startup activity? So once again, the only scores for the site visits are going to be myself, your local reps, and then whoever is going to be participating in the other regions. So this is based on availability. This is just not an expansive list of all what the funds can be used for, but Leeds used to be able to use some of this funding, and so we switched it over to EDO. So you can use it for marketing events, traveling, trade shows, sales missions, additional staffing, with exclusion of the original first full-time employee. Advertising costs. So again, this is not expansive, but just to kind of give you an idea of what types of stuff that you can use the funding for. Next are key dates. So keep these in mind. Today is the opening of the application for just the regular certification. It's similar to Leeds. The regional reps will invite organizations to apply for the program, kind of the gatekeepers of the eligibility. The applications are due July 19th. And as the applications roll in, we'll reach out to schedule site visits. So ideally, it's going to be probably the end of July, early August if needed. So that's kind of the breakdown of that. So we've got some really good feedback from last year on how to tweak this program to make it a little bit more efficient and streamlined. We're going to have a more formalized notification process. So either you receive the certification or you don't, you're going to receive an official letter with areas of improvement. If you don't have any areas of improvement, it won't be there. So we also will schedule a debriefing meeting with myself and all the site visit representatives. And we can discuss, and this could be a debriefing if you receive the certification or if you don't. We would want to, if you want feedback, we're definitely will be available for that. The scoring is going to be a little different for the actual application. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the lowest and the highest score from the application to make it a little bit more fair. There's some outliers. And I'm going to go, so next is just the demo. I think a lot of you have already done this process before, so I won't take too much time. Can you guys see the application here? Okay. So this is the actual application for the EDO certification. So we're not talking about recertification yet. If you've done Leads, it's very similarly laid out. Kind of talks about what we're going to be looking for and what activity, some helpful hints on how to navigate the system. Like if you forgot your password, any questions, you have problems with technology, here's my contact information, because there's always some kind of a glitchy thing that creeps up on us all the time. The second section is applicant information. A lot of it's already pre-populated, especially if you've done Leads, it'll just pull things up. So this one's kind of straightforward. Most of it's mandatory. So if it has that red line, it's mandatory. And then the meat of it is the documentation. And what we did last year to kind of the feedback we got and the different mistakes people were having, I tried to adjust it. So we broke out the signed articles of incorporation and the signed bylaws. Originally it was put together and some people would forget. We also added some help text to kind of guide you in the right direction when you may need it, to give you background information or just some helpful hints. So just make sure to look at that when you're uploading. And then also, speaking of uploading, there's for some reason, our system won't allow a long name when you download. So if the title of your download is too long, it won't let you upload it. So it's a very long title, just shorten it and see if that works. Also, it appears that you do upload it. So it looks like I've uploaded it, but I haven't. So if you're uploading it and you try to submit it, you're like, there's something wrong, you actually have to click upload itself. Of course, it's not going to work now, but it'll refresh. Okay. I just did it. Okay, let me try it here. Let's do it again. And then, oh, okay, so it did already refresh. So this is what it should look like. Oh, I did it lots of times. So this is what it should look like when you've actually uploaded it. And then the last couple of sections are pretty easy. The attestation is just making sure that you're not lying and everything that you say is true as much as you can. And you have to, verify that and making sure that you're being truthful. And then the review and status, you can take a look at the different aspects and what has been filled out and what hasn't really quickly. And then you can submit from there. So so it'll show you X if you haven't submitted it and check mark if you have. And then once these are all filled out, then you can submit funding for application. All right, so that's the certification portion. And I know a lot of you are looking at recertifying. So I have some good news. So this is for recertification. The portal for the recertification report has been open since June 1st. You should have been able to access it through your regional representative. There's a click-through instructions. We have extended the deadline to July 3rd. So happy 4th of July. So you'll have a couple extra days, and I'll go through it. It's not that much. It's compared to the certification versus the recertification, it shouldn't be that much of a heavy lift, but we'll go over that. So important things to keep in mind when you're recertifying, that these criteria are met. You've had no significant disruptions in your organization, not a lot of turnover or decrease in staff. You've had to participate in at least 5 professional development events. This could be for the board. It says leadership. It could be for executive director. It could be a board member. And then this is a renewable grant for up to 10 years. Asterisks depending on availability of funding. So that is to go into this. So what happens after you submit your report? So let's say there's several of you that already have submitted your report. So this is in, I will review it and the local reps will review it as well. And we'll, review it to make sure it meets the criteria. There might be some additional information required. We're going to review it on a case-by-case basis. And so after we're satisfied that the report is eligible for recertification, we'll send you a grant agreement to review and sign. And then we will route it back to our leadership and have it signed by our attorney and our acting cabinet secretary. So just keep in mind, it's about a 2-week turnaround. We can do it faster some ways, but just kind of keep that in mind as receiving funding. And just a reminder, since we're just fresh off of leads, this is not leads. This is not a reimbursement. You're not submitting receipts. So you'll be getting this grant funding upfront. It's different from our other programs. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking about funding and you're worried about, oh, this is taking too long. The fiscal year hasn't started. This is different from leads. You get it as soon as we can process it. And so I wanted to show you a sample report of the recertification process. And I feel like it's not too bad. So it'll probably pull up all this information already, applicant information. It talked about, the different criteria that I mentioned, no reduction in staffing, no significant changes, website's up to date. And then it just asks you if you have participated in those 5 development events. And if so, which ones? If not, why? And a lot of them are yes, no, and then why. So if you have significant organizational change. And so again, if we understand what is happening, it's not a deal breaker where, oh, you've had organizational change, we're going to just check you off. We need to know why. And that's why I said a case-by-case basis. So just try to explain as much as you can. And I know the local reps will have a little bit more background that we can, work on. But reduction in staffing, yes, no. If yes, please explain. organization's website up to date? Yes, no. If yes, when was the last updated? No, please explain. And so this is kind of the fun part where you get to show off, like, what did you do with this money? Were you able to attend more trade shows and you got a lead? Did you be able to hire somebody to do BR&E and have, have more outreach within your organization? Were you able to attend an event you don't normally attend? So just some success stories. So it's just a narrative of what you've accomplished with this funding. How has it helped your organization? How has it helped your community? Um, and then there's an option to upload any supporting documentation. And then you just have to confirm that you're not lying. And this is this is all in accordance to the EDO manual. And with that, let me take that down. I think that might be the end. Okay, so just another housekeeping. So this webinar is being recorded and it's going to be recorded, and it's mandatory for new EDO applicants. And what I just decided to do is do a keyword. So the keyword is Thursday. That's to prove that you've watched the entire webinar. So your reps will know if you haven't seen it. If you don't know, the keyword is Thursday. Very creative of me. And then also, the website will be posted on our website along with the slides. So if you miss anything, you want to, listen to my lovely voice again, you can see the recording and then look at the slides again. So with that, I will stop sharing and we'll look at the questions because I did not monitor them at all. And since we're kind of a small group, if we want to talk, employee turnover is not the same thing as structural change. Yes. So Kevin had mentioned that there's a lot of confusion about, employee turnover versus structural change. That's why the narrative, I would like to know if there has been turnover, what has been happening. Maybe there's, somebody, decided to move, that's out of your control. So as long as you explain it. And the browser, because, okay. Is there any other questions that I missed? I can hear you, cannot hear me. Oh, it's Eva. Oh, good. No hard questions. That's always great. Oh, Keegan, you have your hand up. I'll move you so I can see you.
I was going to say, based on last year experience, can we talk a little bit more about updating the website? Like what important components are that they should definitely have updated?
Well, we're going to check, first of all. So if it looks outdated and refreshed, let's say, and that's why we have that narrative. If you're saying, if you fill out the recertification report and you annually update your website, let's say in August, and it's not going to fit, just say that you're going to plan on updating in August, but it should be, not years. It should be pretty within the year would probably be something that I would think so. And especially if there's something significant that's changed, really, we don't want stale information. Let's say that you have a new executive director that I know somebody has. We would like that to be updated before we take a look at your website.
And I was thinking the property updates and then the demographic updates are really kind of glaring when they're 10 years old or 5 years old, especially property sites that have been changed since 2015 or something. That pops up really clearly. So just having those things kind of cleaned up and updated is super important on our end when we're scanning the website.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be, you would have to, especially the properties, if they're over 5 years old, even, I would think you'd have to update them.
Thanks.
Any other comments from the reps or any things that you've noticed from last year that you want to highlight? Okay, well, great. Well, once again, I'll have this all available on the website. I'm hoping by tomorrow. So in case you want to take a look at it. Bruce's question, you required annually update documents for recertification. No, because the an official certification, you have to upload all the information. For the recertification, you do not. We're not going to check your, auditing and financials unless we specifically ask you. And then, we're in the good standing. So no, you wouldn't have to upload all those licenses and so forth. All right. Last call. All right, good. All right. Well, and then we're available. So if you have any more questions, I'm always available, and your local reps are too. And I hope we can see some good reports and certifications.